Good morning, good morning, good morning. I'm sitting up here like, what did I do with my glasses? Good morning. I'm Delia Jackie, Health Glass Mama and Navy Vet Certified Doer and the Laced Up Legislator for the House of Delegates 93rd District. Honored to serve. I'm going to go over here and I'm going to grab my glasses, even though they're not the glasses I want. I'm going to grab them real quick because I can barely read. This is what happens. My doctor uh, 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 warned me that they're like, after the age of 40 you have to know that your focus vision is going to go down a bit, and I understand that sentiment, but I'm about to grab my glasses. Okay, fair enough, fair enough, fair enough. I'll be able to see. But good morning, Delegate Jackie Hope Glass, Mama Navy Vet Certified Do Lace Up Legislative House Delegates 936. This is real. This is honored to serve. I know it's been a minute. Like I've been in the thick of it. We're in Richmond right now doing the people's business. It's work. it's work, and I know that there's a whole lot going on in y'all's neck of the woods, and I want to be real. Like I want to sort of give you a snapshot of what like I'm seeing right now, and then please remember, if you are interested in coming on to the morning dew and sort of sharing your stuff, send me a message in the chat and I'll bring you in, because you are always welcome in this space. If you got something that you wanted to talk about or that you wanted to bring to the table, I'm here for it. So just let me know and then I'll DM you. I'm gonna get straight into it. uh, it has been a trying past couple weeks. We are after crossover, y'all. So crossover is a time where all of the bills in the House head over to the Senate. I actually got me a little Allen Iverson pop. What do you call them? The little pop characters, because it's crossover time. I know. Get the joke. Um, um, they're it's crossover time. So getting to that is like super important. Um, yes. So I see Ari. Ari, yep. I'm gonna bring you in. I'm gonna bring you in. Like, give me a sec. I'm gonna get you the link and bring you in. But uh, so now I'm on the Senate side of the House, Senate side of things, doing work and things. I want to just sort of snapshot some things that I've been seeing in the community, and then I'm gonna bring Ari in because Ari wants to join the conversation. I'm actually gonna go ahead and send him the link if I can. I'm gonna go ahead and do that so you can join the studio, Ari. Uh, so over the past week, I have been what I've been dealing with is having conversations with people when I come back on Saturday, because I'm in Richmond Monday through Friday. But when I come back on Saturday, it's a balance between like being with my family, like going to my kids' track meets or whatever's happening, spending time with the spouse, and then also sort of making sure that I have the connection with the community. um, there has been a lot of activity in Hampton Roads that some of us may not be privy to, and I want to debrief like what I've seen specifically in the Hispanic Latino community, and some ways that we can actually be of service, some ways that we can actually help. Hey y'all, good morning. Some ways that we can actually help, right? Because what I think is happening is there, because there's so much, because you're seeing ICE vehicles in places and trying to make sense of what it is that they're doing, how that they're doing the things that they're doing, and uh, what those things are about. I think that it's going to be really important for us to have a clear understanding of how we can support this community. Yeah, right. Like, how do we actually show up? Like, I felt helpless, but until I got a chance to actually talk to the people directly affected, I'm now in a place where like I know what my mission is. And so I wanted to like tap in on the aftermath of ICE, right? Like, what is the aftermath of ICE? So first I need you to really just take a deep breath with me. Like, because this is not going away. What we are going to see is expansion of this. This morning, um, we need to not talk about politics as performance, right? We need to talk about the aftermath of this organization or people when ICE comes to a community. when they show up, not, not the headline that you all see on TV, not the tweet that you hear about things, not the arguments you hear in speech, the streets, like the aftermath, what happens. And so if you are a doer, if you are a certified, if you are certified in the ministry of movement and want to be a part of something, then I need you to understand very clearly that chaos can be extremely loud, but recovery has to be organized. And today, I definitely want to get into what it means to have an organized response for our particular communities. When ICE shows up and detains or deports someone, the story doesn't end when they leave. Like when that van, when that car, that sedan, or whatever drives away, that's when the rippling effect in our particular communities, it starts. And if you understand about being in a village, and like I say, remember, village is a verb, village is an act, it's the thing that we do, then you understand that butterfly effect, the ripple of what happens when we make choices. One of the things that I got a chance to talk to the wife of the man who was arrested, who was detained, excuse me, that ran through the business in Norfolk. Right, I attended the funeral of the young man who was hit and killed by a car on 264, running from ICE, and I've had the great opportunity, and I need you guys to put this person's name in your lexicon. I've had those opportunities because community members have invited me in. Patricia Bracknell of the Chamber for Hispanic Progress is been my touch point to these things. And so when I sat in 2 weeks ago, I think it was, when I sat down with the wife, the business owner that were affected by ICE chasing a man through their restaurant and their store, several action items came up for me as a community person, because I can't change what's happening at the federal government, but I can be a part of the community, right? I can be a part of my community. Marquis Bell says, her son participated in the school's walkout protest and you're proud of him. Good. Like there are things we feel helpless. So let me get to it. And then I'm going to bring Ari in. Okay. If you just give me a second. Housing stability. The primary leaseholder, if the primary leaseholder is detained, rent doesn't get paid, the lease may not be legally transferred, family may not know their rights, like they don't. The landlord may panic. Eviction notices may move quickly or more quickly than they should. We are actually seeing this right now. There is a family where there is a son who is disabled, right? He is in a mobile wheelchair, and they actually arrested him last week for trespassing, and so we've got slumlords that are doing or moving evictions very quickly. And so sometimes homes are not lost because someone did something wrong, but because the system doesn't slow down for the trauma. And so when a person is removed, when a person is detained or deported, the paperwork doesn't grieve, right? The paperwork process does not grieve, and that is real. And so now we have a spouse trying to figure out rent, a child scared, possibly a language barrier, and a time clock that is ticking, right? What happens also is with food and income. This is a thing, because this is where we're trying to figure out. The woman's like, her husband did all the business dealing. She did not. She took care of the kids. And so what is it that, Smarky, I still got your stuff in. What is it that she's supposed to do? She never communicated with the landlord. The primary income earner, when they are detained, the household income drops immediately. SNAP benefits or may need updating. WIC appointments might be missed. People are afraid to go to public places. People stop showing up to work out of fear, and that did happen. You get to focus. You get to food insecurity extremely fast when things like this happen. And I want to be like real candid about it. Fear absolutely changes behavior. I am learning this as a kid who grew up in the Chicagoland area, the south suburbs and the south side of Chicago. I became an adult. I'm watching my kids live life without fear. I was always concerned about what color to wear, what street to walk down, all of these things. And I'm looking at behavior. Fear changes you when you're living in a life of fear. Like it changes you, even for people who are citizens. When fear spreads, when the enforcement behavior becomes visible, because you guys are seeing. I'm watching. I'm seeing. Last night I said, and I was able to get on social media. People are videotaping, even when you see a car that says ice. That vulnerability is contagious. So we're all dealing with. That's what every last one of us are dealing with. One huge piece I see in the community is with the kids and with the folks left behind, because uh, children do not process trauma the way that adults do. When a parent is detained, anxiety spikes, sleep disruptions, school performance, regression shows up, behavioral issues. If a parent is detained, medical appointments don't happen, insurance paperwork, transportation, that entire ecosystem around that child collapses. Right. And mental health services are urgent and important. I'm telling you, Hispanic Chamber for Progress have really done a good job of like trying to do this. This is why I'm trying to get more people to get engaged with what they're doing now. That inside but the family is scared to ask for help, and untreated trauma, that it will grow. Who drives the car? Whose name is the car? And the gentleman that got chased through and detained through the store, they left his car, but ICE took the keys, right? And so, what is his wife to do with a car with no keys? Luckily, the business owner, and shout out to them, were able to move the car into a parking spot. But still, like, we need keys. We don't know what they did with the keys, right? That property is inaccessible. That's a legal issue. That's a financial issue. That's a practical issue, because that's their only mode of transportation. Y'all, I'm trying to bring it down to our level. Somebody can't go to work. Somebody can't go to school. Somebody can't go to therapy. And we're not just talking about immigration enforcement. This is the disruption of mobility. The biggest thing I think we can do right now, where I need some advocacy, right? There's a lot of work that we have to do on the advocacy side of things. um, we are in systems, right? We are systems. Some of you all are systems people. I'll resend you the link, Ari. I promise you. A parent who wakes them up might be no longer here. A ride is no longer here. A family crisis. So, how do we respond? How does our school system responds to truancy? Do we respond by sending those parents to truancy court because they're now afraid to send their kid to school? It's happening. So there's some advocacy that needs to be happening at the local level about saying to our school system, if we understand that there's traumatic things happening in our area, should we be penalizing those directly affected? The aftermath of a school shooting, when kids don't want to go to school, do we start sending truancy links? Right? I mean, sending folks to truancy court. You cannot discipline trauma out of a child or out of a person for that matter. So part of the work is making schools understand absence. This moment of crisis is not delinquency, that it's a level of distress that is happening to that family. And I promise you, I'm going to get to so what, now what, so that we can get to talking with Ari. I want to talk about the economic side of things, because there's something right now that you all can do when that enforcement happens, when ICE enforcement happens. Workers disappear from entities, customers disappear, entire communities reduce their whole public visibility. Restaurants were empty. When I went to that restaurant the other weekend, what I was told was like, hey, usually this is a Sunday morning. It's popping in here. It's not popping. And now these Hispanic and Latino owned businesses, revenue is dropping, staff is getting cut, fear is reshaping their local economy. And here's what I really want y'all to understand is that immigration enforcement isn't solely a legal event. It can be what I call like an economic shockwave. And so what I need, what the so what in all of this, right? What does this all mean? It means that when ICE shows up and leaves, that is when the real community work begins. Well, when they show up, not even, because they're not leaving, right? They've been funded astronomically at the federal level. That's when the real work begins. It means that we we only talk about policy and not about the people and things like this. And that is missing the assignment as a community, right? If we're talking about the policy, we got people that should be doing that, and we should be holding them accountable about the policy, the funding, and all those things. But we can't miss our assignment as doers, as community members, because villages of earth. That means this aftermath of when ICE inflicts its pain unto a family, that requires some coordination. That coordination is not emotional. It is extremely strategic. And so I am not here to inflame what's happening. I want to be a part of what it means to stabilize as best as we can, because that panic, that anxiety, that feeling of panic, that is reactive. And I want the doers to be responsive. If you leave this morning dew without something to do, that means that I have not done my job today. Okay. Right. If you leave here without something to do, I have not done my job. So here is what I think can be lawful, can be organized, can be some strategic next steps for doers. This week, I need you to choose or not choose to identify any effective family or business, right? Try to don't spread misinformation, but like find through trusted immediate trusted agents. So again, this Chamber for Hispanic Progress is a place that you can touch point, ask them how to help. Identify immediate needs. Is there rent assistance? Is there food? Is there legal information that you know? Is there childcare? Is there transportation? Some way, right? Like this young man is going to be taken to court for trespassing and is in a motorized wheelchair. How do we get him there, right? A simple way to be a part of that intake process or help the Hispanic Chamber for Progress get the resources that they need to get to the rest of the community. You cannot solve, I don't want to say cannot. It is very difficult to solve what you don't inventory, right? What you don't. Coordinate with legal aid. We don't sort of interfere with enforcement. We don't obstruct. We don't escalate. That's not the goal here. But we absolutely want to make sure that the families here have legal resources. And those are limited to, if you know local legal aid, ask them how you can be of service. What are the touch points? Have them back in their back pocket. If you know immigration lawyers, or like, how do we find the people that are willing to do? Because listen, we can't, there are lawyers willing to step up to play, but like they have to be paid, y'all. Like, and to be fair, the Hispanic Chamber for Progress can't keep asking for stuff for free. Then people are not going to want to help. So we need trusted community navigators that are able to pull those things together. I need us to understand. I'm still trying to figure out how families, and if you are able to, but I'm up here in Richmond trying to be of service to people of the Commonwealth and lawmaking. It is enough for us. I'm trying to figure out, and if you can figure out, how do people retrieve their personal property? That's a huge deal. It's like phones being taken, car keys being taken. How do we access the detained person's information? Again, Patricia Bracknell is a huge resource and has been on it and figuring out how we can even just get a phone call, because this is civil. These are civil matters, so they're not obligated. There's no obligation to give them that one phone call home. We've had the gentleman that got detained the other day was in Texas, then was in Florida, and then was headed back up to DC because a lawyer interjected. If we can get knowledgeable, that will reduce the chaos, because we can respond and not react, as I said before, doers, right? If you've got landlords, or you're able, if you know how to speak Spanish, or you've got a space where people can temporarily be housed, engage with the willingness to be able to work with landlords that are willing to work with families, faith communities that are willing to help with emergency funds, and any mutual aid networks that y'all got. I don't know if there are any temporary assistance rentals, because that was already a hard thing for me to get for people in the community, but maybe you can help with the lease modification because you've got a knack there. Maybe you can do mediation. We cannot, and I'm not trying to get in the business of asking landlords to break the law, but asking communities to practice flexibility in chaos. The school system is huge, y'all. I need folks to reach out to administrators. I propose Is there a trauma-informed response for our Hispanic and Latino communities, and just kids in general? Kids are watching this. Can we get some grace periods on truancy? Are there counselor check-ins? How do we avoid like automatic truancy referrals in an active crisis? Okay, like our systems can be intelligence, compassion that does not have some level of structure will collapse, and structure without compassion leaves some very deep wounds, and we need both. I am asking y'all to go support local businesses, right? We'll support some of these businesses this weekend. Dine in a day. Find your local Hispanic and Latino business, contractor, whatever is. I'm going to try to do a spotlight on some of these business. And that is not, I'm saying this not as a protest, but as a level of economic solidarity, because they're losing business. If you want to counter the economic shockwaves, you increase circulation. Something in the Black community we're talking about all the time, the Black dollar. How do we do this, right? That is a part of the strategy. I'm trying to think of anything else. And if you have any culturally competent therapists, any faith leaders that are culturally competent or just willing to step in, community healthcare workers, the mental health piece, like Patricia has told me, that that's a huge piece. Like the way people are falling apart after their loved one is detained and not being able, like helping the silence will grow the symptoms. So we need folks that are able to resource. Maybe you want to help get a resource fair or some confidential referral pathways. But whatever you do, I'm asking, don't spread rumors, only share verified information. There is fear and manipulation and misinformation. Protect people's privacy. Like, try not to be posting people's families. Don't exploit trauma, because there are people and dignity matters. Always be lawful, y'all, because we should not be obstructing. We should not be escalating. We should be working within the laws to help our people. We have to coordinate and not compete. If you can think of 3 organizations that are doing the same thing, if you can think of 3 organizations that are doing the same thing but not talking, then you know we are wasting energy there. I want you to start thinking in 90 days and not in 9 minutes, right? Trauma lasts longer than a news cycle. And so we've got to start thinking out these next 90 days of like, how do we support our community? Because and I'm sorry, Ari, I just went on a tangent and I'm going to bring you in, I promise. I want to say this very clearly. Like, we didn't choose, or we don't get to choose every federal action in this constitutional democratic republic, right? We have representatives, that's the republic piece that does that. But we absolutely can choose how our local response is as human beings on the communal level. We are not powerless. We are not. We are, dare I say, we are positioned at this moment. Because what I've learned in being here, and this is a difficult place to be in politics sometimes, is that power isn't always loud. Sometimes power is just the quiet organization. And if you say that you love your community, if you say that you care about a community, then this is our time to sort of prove it in a way that makes sense. If you care about businesses, then protect our local economy, right? Patronize these businesses. It don't got to be a whole bunch, even if you just buy one little thing, if you go buy hot sauce, you know what I'm saying? If you say that you care about our kids and our schools, then we have to show up for them when the world shifts. We have to be a part of that 80% of their life that they spend outside of the walls of the school. And know that the work here, I wish it wasn't party work. I wish it wasn't like so separate. I wish that some folks on different spectrums of belief, the other side of, quite frankly, the federal level, the Republican Party, I wish that this was not about party and this was about humanity. But right now, what I need you all to do is understand proximity, your proximity to the issue right in front of you and what you're able to do. Identify a sector, That's all I need you to do. Is it housing? Is it food? Is it schools? Is it businesses? Is it mental health? I need you to call an organization, call somebody and connect with the Chamber for Hispanic Progress. Ask what are the gaps you're seeing, because Patricia will tell you, right? Offer one concrete. Money is tight. Like for me, like my electricity bill is crazy. Like I get that. It's not all financial. I think you got to report back to your network and let them know. If you reach out to a business owner, tell them, like, I'm trying to think of community resilience. It's not something that is done by accident. It is something that we build. We build doers. So I need everybody to take a fucking breath. Because I'm over inflaming the issue. I really think we need to stabilize. I am so sick of the division over this is nonsense, which means we've got to organize. And after ICE shows up, we have to show up even harder and louder. We have to show up smarter. We have to show up lawful. We have to show up strategic, because village is a fucking verb, right? So go be one. Period. Okay? That's my TED Talk. I'm so sorry. I kept you waiting, Ari. I'm gonna bring you in here because I'm just. How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good. How's life treating you? Tell me what's up. What's going on?
All right. Well, first I want to say thank you. As your constitution, I don't know how to say that word. I apologize. But you are the only representative that ever responds to my emails. That's on a state level. City council never responds to my emails. But I want to go ahead and say that in addition to what you were saying about ICE and things like that, we have the LGBT Life Center. We are accepting ethnic foods. We are accepting things specifically for these families that are being traumatized. We also have Indivisible 757 and the Tidewaters, Democratic Socialists of America. We are all taking mutual aid and accepting these donations and giving it to families that are affected. We keep them private. Only certain people know their names and where they are. And we do that on purpose because the less I know, the less I can be impeded on to be told, you get it. In addition to
get folks to know, understand that anonymity is so important of being a trusted agent. So absolutely. All right, keep going.
The other thing I want to say is, if we look throughout history, especially in the queer history, unfortunately, the government's not there for us. It's community that takes care of each other. We know that through Black History Month. We know that over time. So yes, we do need there are people right now that sees the Renee Good pictures and thinks she slipped on ice and died. They do not know that ice even exists. So talking about it, that is important. And that is what's getting to the point that I wanted to bring to you, Miss Jackie, is these flock cameras. They are invading privacy. People don't know that they are watching us. Our children, they are not protected. Anybody can view these cameras. And what is bothering me is they are at playgrounds. We are infested with sexual assaulters in our areas. They can watch my children on a playground. They can scan my license plate without my permission. This is a constitutional breakage in our society that people don't even realize is happening. I have issues with that. There's 44 cameras in my ward alone, and they are specifically attacking people of color neighborhoods, Latino communities, the Black communities, the Filipino communities in Virginia Beach. That is where there is 44 or more flock cameras in those neighborhoods than any other neighborhood in Virginia, at least in the Hampton Roads area that I have done my own research on. And I don't know what to do about it. I am one person. Yes, I am getting some people together to go to a city council meeting and talk about it. But the knowledge of these cameras are not even known.
Yeah.
you know?
I believe did WHRO somebody just did a story on the placement of the cameras. Now I'll have to go back and verify like is the ALPRs. Oh, hold on. Are those are the license plate readers, and this was a hard discussion we had some years ago about just a lot of folks up here didn't want to expand them, didn't even want to. We talked about people's agencies and what they had the potential to do. And I'll tell you to your point, there's sometimes ignorance. And so you're like, no, we can't see a year or two out ahead of us because of the way technology can be manipulated. I
Right.
think about 2 or 3 years ago, there's an ODU professor, and I want to bring him in because we talked about how I can take an iPhone and essentially make with the advent of AI, I can make a flock camera. like
Right.
I can create these sorts of things. I think it might be helpful for two things. Is one, to get someone to be able to, an expert, because we have them in our community, to talk about what these cameras are, what they do, right? To make sure everybody has really straightforward information. But then that article, and Ari, I'm not sure, did you read that article that did the overlay of 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 um of communities and flock cameras?
Not yet. I do have it sitting on my desk, but
Yeah.
I am every day I am out in the community trying to protect my community members. I don't really have time to sit down and read these days because I am just constantly trying to make sure people are getting, keys reprinted for their cars because ICE isn't releasing it to their families, like you said, things like that,
Yeah.
trying to, make sure people are safe. But I do have it on my desk.
Yeah, that's where there's got to be a way to strike some level of balance. I see David James on Instagram says flock is a tough situation. Also helping catch bad criminals, but can there be a balance? Can citizens have the power over their flock data? There are some guardrails about what happens to that data. However, the biggest thing that we've seen is who gets access to it, how they
Right.
use it, right? Like there's and I'm not going to pretend to quote the bill. I'll have to find it and maybe post it. Is like
Understood.
that there are some guardrails, but they're not enough to stop some of the things that we're seeing happen. The misusage. There's
I
not enough to
agree.
stop the misusage. So real issue, real time. I think that Ari, if you're willing to work with us, when we can connect some dots and see how we can get folks understanding the surveillance culture and what we can do as citizens, both at the state and the local level, because we deal with that types of legislation here at the state level.
Right. Right.
Is that
Yes,
fair? Can we do that?
absolutely. Because I am already hesitant as a civilian to call the police, It just is what it is.
Yeah.
We do not have a 287G agreement, and yet I am still afraid to call the police if something like this happens.
Yeah.
We just saw on the news 3 weeks ago where 3 police officers arrested one man for having a worker's face covering over his face. Like, I'm a firm believer in everything needs to be reformed, but I know that can't happen in one day. And I know that, that's wishful thinking, but like, I am just so afraid for my neighbors. I am afraid for my child is, I have 2 children. One is Hispanic, one is Asian. My Asian daughter is 14 and she is literally whitewashing her face every day to go to school. She is so afraid because she knows the Filipino community is being attacked. And she's coming to me and she's like, how can I make my eyes more wide, Mom? And I'm like, this is not, we are in a melting pot country. We should not be dealing with this.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I apologize. I get a little emotional. It's just, I am sending the emails. I am out in the community. I am watching people that used to come to my food pantry every week not showing up anymore, sending family members instead of themselves because they are afraid to leave their homes. And I don't know what to do. And then I can count 7 flock cameras on Granby Street alone. it's just, the fight goes on. I'm going to keep fighting, but it starts to come down to how far can I get involved before, my family's attacked, before I'm doxxed.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that goes back to making sure that you find your people,
I have no
right?
money.
Because it's exhausting, right? And when you're doing it and you're doing it within yourself, it can cause even more anxiety, even more anxiety, even more anxiousness because you're not seeing a needle move or anything, right? All you're seeing is more information and more validating of the issues that you're bringing up. So what I'm hopeful maybe we can do is connect some dots with some folks that are
Yeah.
in these spaces that can kind of talk about maybe build something. And I firmly believe in community building. I think it changes your perception of things, but also may help you find the people to take a step.
Yes, I mean, I encourage everyone to take a Know Your Rights training course. We have one coming up at the Life Center. It's public, open to everybody. February 21st, we have hour increments from 10 a.m. all the way to 4 p.m. at 5360 Robin Hood Road. That's all the resources I have. If anybody does want to drop off food at the Life Center, let them know it's for, families affected by ICE, because we have 2 food pantries.
Can you say the address?
Yes, 5360 Robin Hood Road, Norfolk, Virginia. I don't know the zip code. I apologize. And then we also
apologizing.
And then we also have a Hampton location for the peninsula side. It's 20 Settlers Landing Road, 20 Settlers Landing Road, Hampton, Virginia.
That works. All right. So it sounds like you and I have some connecting of dots.
Yes.
I need you to breathe. Seriously, you got to breathe because yeah.
Okay. That feels good.
Yeah. Sometimes I just want to scream.
Yes.
That's what it feels like in my chest, in my stomach. But yes. Okay. So we're going to connect some dots. I'm making sure there's nothing. There's legislation for controlling expansion. Miss Donna on the Eastern Shore talking about the work and domestic violence bills. There's the being able to obtain a gun after or purchase a gun after you've done some violence that we've done. But I'll have to look and see, but you can reach out to the office and do this thing, right? The thing that Ari is doing, it is equally important for us to say to each other how difficult it is to show up.
Yeah.
How taxing it is emotionally. And our kids feel that. Our kids feel our stress, our anxiousness, because this is community trauma. As Ari was saying, you getting it at home with the babies, you're seeing it at work, and then you get to walk your community and see all it's like trauma on trauma on trauma on trauma. So we gotta make sure that we're taking care of ourselves. Are you drinking water, Ari? Because you're a flower, you're a living thing, and you got to take care of yourself too.
My wife calls me a house plant, so I understand.
Some people are succulents, some people are orchids, but you need to water yourself. You're a living thing. I'm super late for I was supposed to be somewhere at 7:30, but I feel like this was important enough to spend the extra time here. I'm going to be back next week. All right, you're going to reach out, please, and we'll connect some dots. I'm asking folks to get connected with the Chamber for Hispanic Progress. Yes. Because they are doing the work as well. I think it would be super, super, super helpful. Oh, wow. Colleen, she's new from Massachusetts. I love when new people come. Welcome to Virginia. She said, I'm new from Massachusetts. I said that right. Coercive control. Yep, got it. Cool. Love to see it. Love to have you. Okay, all right. I'm gonna bust out of here because I'm like 20 minutes late for where I'm supposed to be.
Thank you for taking the time to speak with me.
Back at you. Thank you for hanging in there with me as I like vomited this morning. This is what community looks like. It feels great. I encourage you all to be kind to yourselves. Choose your thing. It feels rough out here because it is. Because it is. All right. Are you be kind to yourself as well?
Take care.
Take care. And for next time, y'all, I'm Jackie Glass, Mama, Navy vet, certified doer, lace-up legislator for the House of Delegates, 93rd District. I am always honored to serve. I love being on here with the doers for the morning dew because doers get more done. Don't sue me, Home Depot. Take care. Bye, y'all.